I'm not familiar with this species of rock.
These aren't rocks. They're fucking huge rocks! Enormous, penis-like rocks!
It looks like the center of the Earth has been invaded by something very mysterious.
And would soon be within man if we kept her afloat. The water finally calmed and then another plastosaurus maybe brave found but couldn't escape. Uncle, you're not in your right mind. You're not in your right mind. Uncle.
My extraordinary adventure began in 1860 in the idiotic city of Hamburg, where life as we knew it had stopped living. My uncle, Professor Tuppe von Hardwig, was a famous scientist dedicated to the study of gigantic galoshes. If I'm right about this, my denture cream is in the top drawer. My uncle had a painting of a very beautiful woman. I would stare at it for hours. Oh, my adorable Gretchen, I wish I was in this painting with you.
Henry!
My uncle was a very intelligent man.
Henry!
What he wasn't was patient.
Henry!
Uncle! Tone it down for fuck's sake.
Henry, you stupid shit!
I'm coming, Unc!
Henry, I found an ancient text that does impressions of Ate Johnson, the great comedian of laughing fame. It does impressions, and it's just a piece of paper. I'm sure that these impressions contain a precious secret, or my name isn't Al Troutwig.
The Andy Rooney alphabet.
No, not the Andy Rooney alphabet. Nobody understands a freaking word he says.
But, Uncle, come on. He's pretty good.
Not you too, Henry.
But, Uncle!
No! I've been trying to make sense of this shit all night.
My uncle fucking hated 60 Minutes. Hated it with a passion.
The problem is, it's in Spanish, French, Italian, Greek, Hebrew, Japanese. Quite a combination of languages.
He doesn't eat. He doesn't sleep. He just keeps babbling. How can I write this mess? I don't have a clue. Can sadomasochism and accelerants make me care whether I can translate Hebrew-Croatian? Uncle! I can't read Hebrew-Croat, but I can do sadomasochist.
Sadomasochist! Superstar! Descend into a crowd space. You'll get the sniffers from that secretary of yours. And you're to begin in July, oh valiant vagabond, and leg it to the center of the earth. Do you hear that, Henry, you useless twerp?
But what is all this shit about sniffles and secretaries?
Sniffles refers to a smoldering volcano. Secretaries is the name of my secretary. Before July begins, my secretary will begin shielding you under the auspices of the creature that lives in the center of the earth. Scientists believe that the middle of the earth is related to the center of the earth. One is warm and the other is lukewarm. The center is the one we want to get our grabby mitts on. This journey won't be dangerous or difficult. It will take on the unique shape of us, looking stupid and crying out to kill Ani Sak-Anosam.
My uncle was completely hammered. He simply irradiated alcohol-induced enthusiasm.
Henry, we're doing the world a disservice. This Sak-Anosam sack of shit has had a leg up on me.
I couldn't agree less, even if I was half as soused, sir.
Now, pack all of my valets and all of my tunics. We're leaving immediately for the creamy center of the earth.
I'm Owen Wilson. He was treating narrative like it was words on paper, when science has proven that the center of the earth is demonstrably lukewarm, with a creamy substrata. I mean, serendipity. Oh, fuck it. I'm gonna go stare at Gretchen. Gretchen! Mount Sniffles is actually the center of the earth.
Aren't you surprised to see me, Henry? After all, I am a painting.
I think, therefore I am. The struggle of class against class. Tony the Tiger isn't real.
I don't think, yet here I am. Don't you want to come and take me, Henry?
It was all sounding Al Green to me. Tomorrow arrived, quite contrary to forecasts, and we boarded a train for Copenhagen.
Your preoccupation with danger is not funny. Copenhagen is a civilized country.
If you were me, you'd say, get me the fuck off this train too! My uncle had bogus letters of introduction to hand to the Copenhagen bigwigs.
Listen, my boy. This is so simple a tourist could understand it. Not one fucking word about our flagitious plans.
The bigwig grabbed Uncle and shook his hand.
A letter of introduction from Pete Rozelle himself! This is quite an honor. And a recommendation from Ohio State Senator Sir Louis Aparicio. Bravo!
Graft goes a long way in Baltimore.
Suddenly we were on a ship, complete with chauffeur.
Tell me, why does this ship keep a chauffeur?
Perfect. Now the stowaways are insulting mon capitan. Uncle got sick, but not sick enough that he didn't welcome the local rough trade.
Tell Henry I don't want to be disturbed for the next 7 minutes.
For 10 days Uncle proclaimed that he was Bobby Fischer in Reykjavik, and then he snapped out of it.
Henry, look! It's Mount Schniffels!
We left the safety of terra firma for the horror of oh my Christ firma.
Listen, Henry, not one word about that 7 minutes. It'll be our little secret.
And Uncle had even more little secrets.
Welcome, capitalist cowboys. I am the governor, Baron Rupert von Toupet.
The famous fascist!
You all know Dr. Toupet von Hardwig. He pokes fun at signs from his ivory tower.
We know of his inclinations.
We know of his young ward.
My facial hair is your facial hair.
Thank you, gentlemen. Henry, did you tell them of my inclinations? It's not my fault there's nothing but chewy nougat in the center of the earth.
Going loco lately? At dinner, the talk teemed with scientific narcissisms. The only words I understood were, that sack of shit saccanism.
Professor, I can't believe you've come to this strange island and don't want to participate in its stranger customs.
Burning bugs with giant telescopes?
There are many mountains in heaven and many volcanoes spewing forth in hell.
What?
I can masturbate without stroking my penis.
Yes, very impressive.
Look out that window at Mount Sniffles. I came all over that motherfucker when I was just 17. I calmed the wild beast.
Excellent. So, when do we mount Mount Sniffles?
It was becoming difficult to calm my own turgid manhood as I listened to these two saucy septuagenarians. The men were actually menstruating, so confused were their bodies by Bobby Fischer's Reykjavik.
It says here that you are Hans. So, Hans, are you crazy? Do you want to mount Mount Sniffles? Do you have your own hiking equipment and clean neck shop? Do you know what you want? And do you want it all the time? Yeah.
Hans was just like my uncle, except for the succinct and stupid part.
Henry, we're gonna have to carry our own equipment. Thermometers, manometers, ravenometers, Birkenstocks, Barbie socks, and batteries.
Sorry, Unc. All I've got are these ropes and picks and shit. In the morning, Hans appeared with a mop-topped horse.
I'll give you $2 for your horse and another $2 if you can tell me which end is which. Stick of hangdag. Did you just tell me to bite you? Say it again, Hans, or are you too pussy?
Without calling undue attention to himself, my uncle had successfully asserted his dominance. We were charging all our expenses to Hans's Eurovisa, so Uncle had shiny new boots, and Mop Top had a sequined red vest.
These fucking cowboy idiots floor me. Hans has a €3,000 limit on his card.
Fucking hey, let's get HBO! We laid it to some ancient ruins that were not only raucous, but also surrounded by Nadia Comaneci-like tidal waves. Now what?
These animals can cross this shit, no problem.
Does intelligence come with anything you say?
Whoa, Mop-Top, I am not a cowboy. Stop! Mop-Top! Desist! Oof!
Nice one, Roy Rogers. While Uncle dictated a complete report to the Polizei, The rest of us pitched in and constructed a lifelike raft so we could continue our fantastic voyage. For days we voyaged, Uncle continuing his Pulitzer report in a purple haze. We could see the nose of Mount Sniffles, but Uncle was certain we were at the Berlin Pulitzer department. The terrain buckled and shifted beneath our asses. Very dangerous.
Be careful with my clutch cargo figurines!
When the time was right, Hans uncovered his own collection. A collection of fucking rocks!
Typical intellectual. They have no idea how to pack for a trip to the center of the earth.
Those are nice rocks. Bored, and with no churros, the journey was grating on my nerves. And now vapor was escaping from the oh my Christ firma. Uncle, is that poisonous gas?
Breakfast burrito.
What are you talking about? I'm talking poison gas spewing from the center of the freaking earth.
That's not my concern, boy. My concern is the center of the earth. Poison gases come and go. The center of the earth stays.
You say so, Uncle. As we climbed and traversed and climbed, Hans made sure he was on top, while Uncle enjoyed bringing up the rear.
We'll make camp here.
But Hans pointed upward.
No! Too safe! Keep climb!
It was 11 p.m. in the freaking night, and the atmosphere had run out of oxygen. Hans no liked.
Infants Rumpelstiltskin!
But Uncle found the lack of air invigorating.
We've mounted Mount Sniffles!
After a night of canned food and canned air, we were desperate for the brilliant and glorious rays of Sitting Bull.
Imagine looking into this crater for the first time. The joy, the sheer sense of panic you would feel.
We are feeling that, Uncle. And last night my teeth began talking to me about the Lakota Whippy ceremony. But Hans, with his canned air and tanned body, put his forefinger to his head, imitating a gun, and pulled the imaginary trigger. And then he screamed like a seagull being raped by a Scandinavian. We'd have to keep an eye on Hans, while also trying to keep up with the sad-faced Sherpa. And we had to slide down Mount Sniffles. At least Uncle liked it.
Whee!
And then the testy Tibetan tour guide tossed the trunk full of figurines into the fiery abyss. This act struck the last nerve I had in my body. That fucking Hans had forced me into a funk. We slid to a stop. Hans declared nap time, and Uncle bolted for the edge of the crater.
Spinner! Paddlefoot! Swampy! Clutch! Henry! Henry! Fucking Christ! Look at this!
Look at what?
Look! It's that sack of shit Sack Anusum's name, and it's huge!
Arnie Sackanusum? But, Uncle, what the fuck?
It's a message from the gods. Before July comes around again, Secretariat will win the Indy 500. We have to come correct, my boy, before we leave this crater.
Did that slide down Mount Sniffles puncture your sacroiliac?
Yes, Henry, it did. It was exactly what I needed. I've been such a tight ass.
Maybe. But 2 days with no sun, and Uncle was popping mescaline like it was peyote. My uncle had literally and figuratively hit bottom. Uncle wasn't the only one mainlining mescaline.
Sun gods! Heed my sclerotic screams!
Watch out for the crater! It was a sobering scene. My dear friend, what's his name, had mistakenly sacrificed himself to the wrong gods. The poor schmuck appeased the crater gods, and we are completely out of fondue. My uncle became more and more mixed up.
Hermaphrodites, Hans. Take all of our instruments and equipment to town and get us some vaginas and throw the rest of that crap into the crater.
After Hans had thrown our equipment into the crevasse, Uncle had yet another surprise.
Now it's our turn.
We descended into the crater, Uncle reading our fortune in the wall's fissures.
At 75 meters, we will encounter a trained seal who will sing for us and renew our outlook on life.
We didn't find a trained or any kind of seal.
3 hours, and not one seal, and not one fondue.
And then,
Gott in Himmel!
it's a fondue pit!
Stop! 3 hours is the limit for fondue chokes. We're like Pinocchio in the belly of Mount Kilimanjaro.
I just want an ATM machine and some Doritos. Tomorrow dawned suddenly, surprising my uncle, who was looking at his instruments trying to figure which way was up.
The barometer says the Dow Jones is up. The thermometer says the S&P is down.
After a breakfast of Doritos fondue, we decided that life was no longer worth living and descended into the belly of the crater.
These lanterns illuminate like motherfuckers.
Nice analogy, Unc. 7 hours of marching landed us in, you guessed it, another fucking cavern.
Didn't we walk through this shit last night?
Yes, you stupid piece of... Yes. Uncle, our provisions are running low. Let's kill Hans.
Tell you what, mention this again when Hans isn't in the foreground, munching on the last of the fucking pita bread.
We were all getting cranky, and then we came to a fork in the cave. It was the servants' entrance to the center of the earth. What it wasn't was a good time to be thrown such a series of narrative arcs.
Holy fuck!
It's like the urinal in an ancient Anglican church. And then we, literally, got our asses in gear. I passed the time drinking heavily. Uncle, this isn't water!
Then stop drinking it like it was pork rinds over Miami!
I stopped drinking and staggered to my feet. Fuck me! Another tunnel!
Let me see. We know that sack of shit Zack Anderson is taunting and probably following us. I've got it. We'll find Zack Anderson's sandbox. I used to drink and drink at the sandbox. And then, one night, after a 3-day binge, I swore that I'd crucify Zack Anderson like a Christmas goose.
That's all well and... did I say well? And good, but if we don't find water soon, I'm gutting Hans and drinking his blood. But soon the old guy returned to his usual ancient and sedentary self. And then, on the 3rd day without water, I diagrammed my desire to disembowel Hans.
Water!
Thank Jesus fucking Christ! And in that moment, I felt very close to my uncle. I looked up, and the old fuck was in my face.
I'm sure Zack Anderson hasn't had a chance to poison the water. In fact, I guarantee it. You drink first, Henry.
I love you, Unc.
Phew!
The water made me gag and left me weak and prone to babble. Pour me no butts, Uncle. I know horseshit when I smell it. Back to Mount Sniffles.
What? Has your rear end roared into your face? Jesus!
Put me in my jammies.
Listen to me, Henry. Your hair has seeped into your brain. The water was teeming with Grecian formula.
Wee-wee?
That tunnel that we didn't take, it went directly to the center of the earth. We've been hopping around like grasshoppers on a griddle, and you're drinking Grecian formula. Henry, this is far more than a bunch of jackasses jerking off in the Oh My Christ firma. This is men. Men, Henry. Men who are drinking hair tonic and losing action figures.
Okay? I knew that I was lost in La La Land. But did Uncle just say we're imbibing Brill cream? Uncle, I'm totally better! Nothing, except the haunting specter of milk of magnesium.
Here's some milk of magnesium. Take a swig of this, my boy.
I was so desperate to feel better that I found myself sucking on the silvery metallic side of the cavern. Oh, my head! I thought you said that this shit I was sucking on was milk!
You milksop!
My ability to conjugate disaster was fleeing, and I started to sweat. Uncle, thank Christ it's you. You gotta help!
Where's the fuck is Hans?
Suddenly, Hans came running into the frame.
Vino! What the hey?
Stay away! Time was becoming priceless, especially after that Hans/comic frame incident. I thought at least I'd see my life flash in front of me.
I feel the presence of a subcutaneous river.
Now my life will never pass before mine eyes. Oh, the power and the glory!
Master Henry's frontal lobotomy, please!
Here! Hans began working with a curious churlosity, and a pot-bellied pickaxe.
Hans! What the fucking shit are you doing? We can't tunnel out of here.
Uncle is right. We need to find water. At least I hadn't said, "We need to find water, you Scandinavian pile of crap!"
Fuck!
That's a bad word.
Don't just stand there. Fill my lantern.
Uncle was slowly going mad,
I'm
but so slowly that he almost made sense. Our journey continued for days. Sometimes the tunnels were horizontal, and sometimes vultures swooped down on us, and snakes spat at us. For days we descended into the dentures of the beast. Finally, on Saturday, July 18th, we stumbled into an enormous cavern, and the acoustics were so good we sang until Sunday night, July 19th.
I can't believe we've been singing instead of assaulting Malschniffels.
I believe it. You are probably the single most compelling reason we can't find our asses with both hands.
Bite me.
You don't have the balls for me to bite you. That didn't come out right.
The Nasdaq is down 89 points.
89 points? But I invested in every tech stock I could swallow, and I'm running a temperature of 3,400 degrees Fahrenheit. The rocks are forming a union, and it rocks!
Rocks can't form a more perfect union. I'll secede first.
When morning came, fuck me if we weren't staring at the freaking Atlantic Ocean. We couldn't journey any further. We were paralyzed. Fucked. But the view was fantastic. This was one serious ocean. The sun! The sun!
Don't be such a lumberbrain. We're at the creamy center of the earth. That can't be the sun. Maybe we've lost track of where we are. We've been climbing up and down like a midget humping Anna Nicole Schmidt.
Clouds! 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 Look! A subway tunnel!
I'm not going in there. There's rocks in there.
But the rocks had turned into giant mushrooms. I'm not familiar with this species of rock.
These aren't rocks. They're fucking huge rocks. Enormous, penis-like rocks.
It looks like the center of the earth has been invaded by something very mysterious.
And TV dinners.
Dude, those aren't TV dinners. Those are the interior cruciate ligaments of mastodon teeth.
Did you just ask me if these monstrous bones were a momentary lapse of having rocks all around us?
That was Hans. But nothing in our lives prepared us for what we would see next. A scene so sublime, so incestuously regal, that it defied all known licentiousness. The men became so disoriented that they decided that the only way out was hide and seek!
For fuck's sake, at least tell me which direction you went in. Henry, there you are. Look, Hans is making us a raft out of balsa wood. And it only cost me a couple of martinis.
Uncle, I've been hiding in a dank cave for the last 8 freaking hours! And in that moment, everything was possible, including the possibility that nothing was possible.
Come on, Henry, it floats. Hans is a licensed carpenter in Liechtenstein.
Off you go, Unc. We navigated as Hans pushed.
Hans no like. Always grunt work.
It was slow going,
Always grunting and pushing.
but fortunately Uncle and I had important plans to discuss.
We'll have Hans build a wet bar and a volleyball court. Then we'll invite some Tahitian girls.
We floated for days without seeing land, without eating food, and without NBA League pass. Despite all of this, Uncle was impatient. We're floating as fast as we can.
Don't patronize me, boy. My team of horses will find the kind of them.
My uncle made various sounds
Baum, urp, zup, zup.
as he tried fishing with our anchor. It was getting hard not to just dive into the abyss ourselves.
Did we catch anything?
What do you think?
Dumb fucks.
I think Hans is anchor-biting mad.
We'd best go back and get my team of horses. Ah! Quicksand!
Giantly monstrous quicksand. Shock went up to the Contras, the Alman Roca occultists, and elevator music. A giantly large sand snake!
There's an ichthyologist when you need one.
Hans pushed and pushed until he conjured up another monster.
Holy shit! 2 plasticosauruses? Drill them with marinara sauce!
We're out of marinara, but we've got pinch me Alfredo! The Plasticosauri just wouldn't go away. We'd become paralyzed by their breaths, but kept paddling. The monstrous plastic menace was within 10 meters of our balsa boat, and would soon be within 9. Never before had human eyes been so violently peeled back to reveal such plastic and prehistoric piss ants. As we prayed, desperate for the water gods to help us, a whirlpool formed, sucking us surely into a watery grave.
This is heresy!
The water finally calmed, and then another Plasticosaurus appeared.
What is that?
Plasticosaurus shit! Well, that's put me off breakfast. We prayed for pine, but couldn't escape the balsa. I think it's our time, Unc.
The New Deal is back?
No! We're gonna die! It's kinda a neat sensation.
No. I'm gonna create a temporal fold in the universe that will hold us until the Marines arrive.
Leave the driving to us, Uncle. Leave the freaking driving...
Oh, shut the fuck up!
The giant snakes in the sky exploded. This put me off not only breakfast, but any hopes of masturbating. If it hadn't have been for that fruitcake Hans, we never would have been in this mess. And now he's dead. Oh well. When I opened my eyes, it was day. Time to masturbate! Would you turn your back, please, Uncle?
So you can jerk off? I think not. And fuck Hans. We're going to the center of the earth.
But wouldn't we be totally exhausted after what we just went through?
Our good friend Hans, or at least his body, has washed up. He's left us a compass and some fleshy human morsels.
My uncle had finally and completely lost it.
This can't be.
It could be, but I wasn't telling Unc.
Impossible.
I tried to look out past the cartoon frame, my turtleneck impeccable. What is it, Unc?
This compass says that it's Ladies' Day at the center of the earth. Where are we going to find a dame, except for that ghastly painting of Gretchen?
It's still 6 days until the next Macy's White Sale. Uncle, you're not in your right mind. It's been kidnapped by Zapatista rebels and stored in Venezuela.
Look, Hans has reanimated, and he's reanimating our raft.
Uncle, the Zapatistas won't be here with your right mind until tomorrow.
That's okay. I'm enjoying the delusions.
We bullcrapped around like this for several meters. And then... Uncle, look! The dinosaurs have reanimated too!
Masturbator! Look! Carcass de mimosa!
No! It's not just a carcass. It's an excuse to masturbate!
Look! Henry! They can't see us! What a profile! This is the greatest thing I've seen since Uzbekistan!
Oh my freaking god! How would you describe this Malox moment? For the first time in his life, my uncle didn't have a snappy comeback. And in that moment, we ran like legionnaires from Legionnaire's disease.
What is it, Henry?
A seashell! Look!
That's not a seashell, ignoramus! This is what I used to kill Hans!
No, Uncle. Hans is alive. And he's forming an army of reanimated Scandinavians.
I was nervous, but I took this very knife and cut him into tiny archdioceses. I cut, so I could have at least 100 years of solitude. I cut his head off like it was a melon and I was a tortoise.
But Uncle, I'm sure you wouldn't kill a modern man.
Yes, and a man who was only 20 years old and who built rafts out of freaking balsa wood. I grabbed him, I kicked him in the ass, and then I killed him. I'm a macho man, my boy.
I'm gonna go beat off behind that rock. But behind that rock was the entrance to a tunnel, and some disturbing graffiti. I know those initials. It's Anna Skornikova.
A.S. Arne Sack Anusum, you sack of shit tagger.
Time to come correct, Sack and Newsome.
My temporal fold has folded us right into that sack of shit's path.
The tunnel's entrance was 5 meters to the right. We moved 6 meters to the left. But it was my libido that I was thinking about, not my thirst for vengeance, when...
The tunnel's blocked.
This guy sure is a pisser. What is up with Sack and Newsome? We tortured the tunnel's rock face, but it wouldn't talk.
You don't wanna fuck with me, Rock. Blocking a tunnel for that rat's ass Sacanusum? I give up. I've tortured and tortured the rocks, but they won't sing.
There's a place in hell for you for this, Uncle.
And then what?
Pulverization! Vulcanization! We were about to keep dicking around when we noticed Hans's corpse taking action. My uncle and I immediately pitched in, telling Hans lewd jokes to harden his metal. So, a man unzips his trousers and screams, "Prepare the mescaline!" But the joke is on him because you've still got 71 more tons to go, Hans.
Yeah, wake us up when you're done.
We awoke at 6 to a breakfast of pie, and Hans leaving with the rest of our provisions.
My boy, look! It's pumpkin!
Terrific, Uncle.
Hans, thank God. I knew you wouldn't leave me here to die. Henry, I don't think there's any room on this reanimated raft.
That's okay, Unc. I'm going back behind that rock. Fucking A!
Hans, help me. Push him off with your pole. Okay, you've made it to the raft, but I freaking had it. 3, 2, 1. Blammo! Arrgh! Perfect. Now we can blame everything on the terrorists. Ha! We're looking for Caminito Sacanosum, but all I see is Caminito sure freaking death.
Why did you try to hot rail us to hell, Unc? We don't deserve to die. Well, actually we do. Wait, this is kind of fun. Fun until we hit the freezing cold water. If we survive this ordeal, I swear to fucking Christ, I'm gonna find the inventors of balsa wood and disembowel them. Now what?
Now we die, Henry.
Hey, this is different.
Yes, the balsa has reanimated itself, like a handshake from Charo.
I'm seeing shapes and colors I haven't seen since my college days.
I see them too, Henry. We're in a volcanic tunnel that has vulcanized our raft and reddened our necks.
And colored our clothes. But why is it so hot?
Which part of we're in a freaking volcano? Didn't you get, knucklehead? This is the center of the earth! Blammo!
Are we dead yet?
Is this a dream?
No!
Then, are we volcanic Falderall? Puritanical masturbators in the Garden of Eden?
Dinner for the living dead? I know where we are. The dry cleaning capital of the world! Yum. Delicious.
Careful, I think Hans heaved on those. How did God know I like little boys?
Stromboli? Stromboli? One of the most useless volcanoes in the world!
We thought we were moving through Mount Sniffers, not through Italy's most useless volcano, to the center of the earth.
Who'd have thunk it? But nothing prepared us for the reception we received at home from the German natives. We thought we'd been possessed by demons.
It's the celebrated center of the earth pedophile!
We told everyone we had journeyed to the center of the earth and not on a bad acid trip.
Henry, my love, it's me, the painting of Gretchen.
This made all the difference in the world. Instead of being rounded up like common pygmies, we were celebrated by the hoi polloi of Hamburg. My uncle was famous. Famous for treating a journey to the center of the earth like he was Rush Limbaugh cruising the Dominican Republic. And, much to his horror, the city of Hamburg feted him as such. It is much to my disgrace that I hand you the Rush Limbaugh Viagra Medal of Dishonor!
Sir, I can explain. If you could just find Arnie Sacanosum. He's the biggest sack of shit in the city.
And then, instead of inviting my uncle to speak, some guy who said he was from Holocaust Deniers Incorporated stood up and said Unc was a genius.
We're naming our new university after Professor Hardwick. Bigot Rock Spider University.
And then, my beloved uncle, look! Gretchen is not just a painting on the wall.
And now that Henry has come back from his bad journey, we'd like to ask your consent to let us marry as man and painting.
No, I liked you much better as a painting. The boy is mine!
a balsa boat, and would soon be worth a nine if we kept her afloat. The water finally calmed, and then another plastosaurus baby bravely found but couldn't escape. Uncle, you're not in your right mind. You're not in your right mind. Uncle, Uncle. I cut and I cut, I cut and I run. I cut off his head like his head was a law. But beyond that rock was the entrance into a tunnel where my friends kept a sword to kill my boy Hans. Thank God, I know you wouldn't leave me here to die with Henry. Thank God, thank God. Uncle, you're not in your right mind. You're not in your right mind.